broadcasting across the nation from the East Coast to the West, keeping you up to date on technology while enjoying a little whiskey on the side, with leading-edge topics, along with special guests, to navigate technology in a segmented, stylized radio program. The information that will make you go, Pull up a seat, raise a glass with our hosts as we spend the next hour talking about technology for the common person. Welcome to TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm.
Today's content is a part of our April Fool's special.
Welcome to TechTime Radio with not Nathan Mumm, the show that makes you go, technology news of the week. The show is for the everyday person talking about technology, broadcasting across the nation with insightful segments on subjects weeks ahead of the mainstream media. We welcome our radio audience of 35 million listeners to an hour of insightful technology news. I'm not Nathan Mumm, your host, who is a technologist with over 30 years of technology experience. Somehow we got an email from good old Nathan that last night he decided he's going to our nation's capital to work with Doge, but, hey, we'll find out about that later. I'm your host, Mike Gorday. I am an award-winning author and a human behavior expert. And sitting to my right here is... Who are you?
Let me introduce myself, Mike.
There you go.
I am Mark. I am the whiskey connoisseur, and on the side, a technology expert.
Okay. We live stream during the show on 4 of the most popular platforms, including YouTube, Twitch, TV, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We encourage you to visit us online at techtimeradio.com and become a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/techtimeradio. We're friends from different backgrounds, but we try to bring the best technology show possible weekly for our family, friends, and fans to enjoy. We're glad to have Mr. Somebody, our producer, at the control panel today. Welcome, everyone. Let's start today's show.
Now on today's show.
Today on TechTime Radio, we're going to dive headfirst into the cutting edge, the curious, and sometimes the downright unbelievable in the world of tech. On today's show, how an AI tool helped uncover a groundbreaking treatment for a rare disease. We'll discuss the controversy surrounding 23andMe's court win and their unfortunate ability to sell DNA data and what it means for your privacy. Then Elizabeth Binnick, a leader in tech innovation, joins us to share her journey and insights. Plus, we'll explore Signal in depth to see how this chat app, all in the news now and used by U.S. officials to share strategies and introduce the futuristic microchip manicures turning your nails into QR codes. In addition, we have our standard features, including My Mesmerizing Moment, Technology Fail of the Week, and possibly a Nathan Nugget.
How are we going to do that one?
All things are possible in the world of media.
Or just bash a nugget on Nathan's head.
We'll just bash Nathan with a nugget.
For him ditching us today.
And, of course, we have our pick of the day whiskey tasting to see if our selected whiskey gets 0, 1, or 2 thumbs up at the end of the show. And it looks like from the spread here, it's one of those spreads.
Yes, it is. I wasn't here last week, and you guys didn't miss me, so I thought, well, maybe if I bring more whiskey, okay, you guys will love me.
Is that like whiskey goggles, like beer goggles?
Whatever I can do to get your love, Mike.
Okay, all right. Well, now it's time for the latest headlines in the world of technology.
Here are our top technology stories of the week.
Welcome to our technology stories of the week. Story number 1. Reports say that Elon Musk announced on Friday that last week he sold his social media platform X to his own artificial intelligence company, xAI. Let's go to Lisa Walker for more on this story.
Elon Musk on Friday announced he has sold his social media platform X to his artificial intelligence company, xAI. The new company is now valued at $80 billion in an all-stock transaction. Musk founded xAI in March 2023 to use artificial intelligence to understand and generate human-like text. At the time, he said the company will seek to understand reality. X has around 1,500 employees, and XAI has around 1,000 workers and is notable for products including Grok, Aurora, and Promptal DE. Back to you guys in the studio.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to feel about this right now.
This is an odd story.
Yeah, Musk purchased Twitter for $44 billion in late 2022. He took the company private and rebranded it as X on July 23rd of 2023. X has approximately 611 million monthly active users globally. He says that XAI and X's futures are intertwined. This will allow us to build a platform that doesn't just reflect the world, but actively accelerates human progress. Musk founded XAI in March of 2023 to use artificial intelligence to understand and generate human-like text. At the time, he said the company will seek to understand reality, according to a post on Twitter. Whoa, that's not Twitter, that's X. In February, investors led by Musk have offered $97.4 billion to take over OpenAI, the artificial intelligence maker of ChatGPT. He says it's time for OpenAI to return to the open source, safety-focused force for good it once was. We will make sure that happens.
You think that's why he wants to buy OpenAI?
No.
Doesn't he have his own AI?
I don't think he wants it.
Maybe he wants an AI that actually works.
Maybe.
All right.
In response, OpenAI chief executive Sam Altman posted on Musk's own social media platform X, "No, thank you, but we will buy Twitter for $9.74 billion if you want."
Oh, that's a nice discount from what he bought it for.
No kidding. In 2015, Musk and Altman co-founded the startup OpenAI as a nonprofit company, but the relationship has chilled since Musk departed the firm in 2018. The ChatGPT tool debuted in November of 2022. Musk, who is worth $347.7 billion according to Forbes, is the largest shareholder of Tesla, the electric vehicle company, and is the CEO of SpaceX. So I don't know we all know how I feel about AI.
Yeah, it's just interesting that, you own two companies and one of your companies buys the other company. Is it really a purchase, or is it more of a merger?
I kind of feel like he's outsourcing it so that he can have his AI generated reality machine take over for X, and then it can do all the texting that he normally does.
Right. So it makes sense that he brings the two together. Just to say that one sold to the other is a little strange. The other one that people are talking about, it's a little weird that the XAI purchased X.
Mm-hmm.
Most people thought it was going to be the other way around because X is a much bigger platform than his XAI, which is just a startup, and that's more of a support organization.
I don't know. I have a feeling it has more to do with how X has been being run into the ground over the last couple of years. That may be the impetus for buying that, but I'm not an expert on how those people run their businesses. So
we'll have to do a call into Nathan because he's going to get really close today to Mr. Musk there, flying over to DC to work with him.
All right. Story number 2. Now, AI tools helps find life-saving medicine for a rare disease. Okay. Now this is something that I think is a great use of AI. So, set to enter a hospice care, a patient with idiopathic multicentric Castleman's disease is now in remission after treatment with medication predicated as the top treatment by an AI-guided analysis. After combing through 4,000 existing medications, an artificial intelligence tool helped uncover one that saved the life of a patient with idiopathic multicentric Castleman's disease. This rare disease has an especially poor survival rate and few treatment options. The patient could be the first of many to have their life saved by AI prediction systems, which could potentially apply to other rare conditions.
So, Mike, how did this work? Did it actually just predict what it thought the medicine would be, or did it actually develop a medicine?
Now, how I understand this works is that it set the AI to go through all the pharmaceuticals that were available, find out which ones had side effects that worked as a treatment for a similar disease, and then it prescribed the medications based on the side effects, and the side effects put it into remission.
Wow.
Which is a really interesting way of treating a patient, is by using the side effects of medication.
And that's something that human people trying to do would be almost impossible, to go through everything of that kind of scope and size, going through that size of data.
Yeah. This is one of the reasons. This is one of the things that AI should be doing. It shouldn't be doing AI girlfriends, and it shouldn't be doing AI therapists, and it shouldn't be doing AI art and AI writing books. It should be helping medical professionals cure diseases.
So it sounds like, from your description there, it was humans using it as a tool to a system versus it trying to replicate a human function.
Yeah. So, with Musk trying to understand reality, I guess, that is a very good way of looking at it. So, detailed in a new paper published in the NAJM, a group led by researchers at the Perelman School of Medicine at University of Pennsylvania, they used the AI technique called machine learning to determine that, well, I'm not going to say that because I can't pronounce it, a monoclonal antibody, which is FDA approved to treat conditions ranging from arthritis to Crohn's disease, was the top predicted new treatment that was likely to work for IMCD. The physician of the patient in the study, Luke Chen, MD, a hematologist in Vancouver General Hospital in Vancouver, BC, decided to try this TNF inhibitor for the first time on an IMCD patient.
Ooh, came from Canada.
Well, that's where the patient was.
Nice. Go Canada.
The patient in this study was entering hospice care, but now he's almost 2 years into remission. This is remarkable, not just for this patient in IMCD, but for the implications it has for the use of machine learning to find treatments. The process of using an existing drug for a purpose other than its initial intent is called drug repurposing. Many diseases may appear very different in symptoms, prognosis, or even cause, but they could share underlying links in the body, such as common genetic mutations or molecular triggers, and can therefore be treated with the same drug. The AI platform used in this study was built upon pioneering work by study co-authors Chunyu Ma, a research assistant, and David Kozlicki, an associate professor of computer science and engineering biology at the Huck Institute of Life Sciences, both of Penn State. The patient described in the study was headed into hospice care because multiple treatments had failed him over time. While Castleman's disease is relatively rare, about 5,000 are diagnosed in the U.S. each year, the findings of the study could save the lives of many more.
Do you know if they've gone beyond just one patient at this time?
No.
Okay.
No, it doesn't look like. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more testing. One of the reasons why they were able to do this was that the patient didn't have any more options, so they were allowed to move forward with this based on that.
Yeah. Where I find this very interesting is that a lot of our famous drugs that are used now for a particular application have been this side effect type treatment, but it's taken a long time to figure that out.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because one of the things that you notice when you see folks that are taking treatments is that you have the primary treatment pharmaceutical, and then you have another pharmaceutical that treats the symptom or the side effects of the first one, and then you have a third one that treats the side effect of the second one and the first one. And so you have this long list of you get people who have a long list of medications because of all the side effects, and then you have this drug cocktail that nobody really knows what's going on. So
very interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Now this is where I do find AI to be a boon to our society. Otherwise, AI just sucks in general.
Yeah, that's kind of what James Riddle was talking about a few episodes ago.
Yeah,
They can be used for, mass destruction, genetic resequencing that can be destructive, and yet there's so many positives that they can do in diagnosis and treatment.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on to story number 3, unless you have anything else to say about AI.
No, I'm done with AI. I want to go to data breaches.
Okay.
I miss those. We haven't talked about those in a while.
Well, we warned you. Not too long ago, we talked about 23andMe being caught up in some legal things. Well, your genetic DNA is going on sale to the highest bidder. The company 23andMe has won court approval to sell its most valuable asset, your DNA data, despite growing concerns over privacy and security. A U.S. bankruptcy judge, Brian C. Walsh, allowed the company to proceed with an auction, but extended deadlines to give creditors more time to review the sale.
Hopefully that gives people time to get their data out of there.
Well, as part of the sale process, 23andMe originally set tight deadlines requiring potential buyers to submit final offers by May 7th. Nevertheless, Walsh ordered a 2-week extension, allowing creditors more time to assess the deal before a final decision. A lawyer from the U.S. Trustee's office argued that a neutral third party should oversee the sale to protect consumer privacy. Despite these concerns, 23andMe's legal team, led by Grace Hotz, argued that the company's privacy policies already provide enough protection. Meanwhile, state attorney general have warned consumers to delete their genetic data before the sale is complete. This has triggered a rush of users trying to remove their information from 23andMe's website, causing a surge in traffic, which probably means a slowdown on the website, which probably means an overloaded response time.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, I'd love to go back and read the judge's decision, how, because 23andMe had legally told the people they would not be selling that data at all.
We've been alive long enough to know that when people say stuff, you automatically have to take it with a grain of, or a whole shaker of salt, right? Because people say stuff and then they do the complete opposite. We see it all the time.
Right. But this has major legal implications.
I think this is a really, really, bad thing. But, we talked about this last year, I think at the beginning, somewhere around the beginning of last year when this all started falling apart for 23andMe. And we had a big conversation between not only us, but maybe James was part of that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. It just seems the U.S. is going in a direction of anti-consumer protection. And so really, if you want to do something of this, I would probably look for a European company because they are really pushing with their security protocols and protection of your data.
I don't know. We all know that our data is the hottest commodity on the market. So
and we in 23andMe use that as currency.
Yeah,
versus privacy.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that we talked about 23andMe having connections to China, so
Hey guys,
who knows?
Hey guys.
Oh, is that
what's that?
Hey guys. Hey. So I'm at a secret bunker. I'm trying to call in here for TechTime Radio. I got a bunch of stuff. I went in to help the government, and they put me in this bunker, and I'm stuck here.
Maybe you should talk to us on Signal.
We're going to be talking about that coming on up. Thanks for. I'm going to see if I can maybe get in for or say a segment. Okay.
Okay.
You gotta do the whiskey.
Take a cough drop while you're at it.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Well, hopefully, it sounded like Nathan. He never did identify himself.
He didn't identify himself. Yeah, what's up with that?
All right, I don't know.
Okay, well, that is our top technology stories of the week. Moving on, we'll have our deep dive in Signal and the texting app that everyone at the White House is using. And our guest, Elizabeth Bennick, joins us next segment to talk technology and holograms. Buckle up as we drive 88 miles per hour into our next segment. See you after the commercial break.
Looking for custom glass solutions for your next commercial project? Hartung Glass Industries is your trusted partner in custom glass fabrication. For over 100 years, Hartung has delivered proven manufacturing expertise, comprehensive product offerings, and dependable service and quality. From energy-efficient facades to custom shower doors, we create glass solutions tailored to your project needs. With 8 facilities across the U.S. and Canada, we combine national expertise with a local touch-ensuring faster service and unparalleled customer care. Hartung Glass Industries, where quality meets innovation. Visit hartungglass.com to learn more.
Welcome back to Tech Time with Not Nathan Mumm. Our weekly show covers the top technology subjects without any political agenda. We verify the facts and do it with a sense of humor in less than 60 minutes and, of course, with a little whiskey on the side. Today, Mark Gregoire, our whiskey connoisseur, is back in our studio here and has our monthly tradition. Mark, explain why we're drinking a lot of whiskey today.
We are doing the 2024 Flavor Advent Calendar, and this is our round 4. So we're using this whiskey Advent Calendar with 24 remarkable whiskeys to use for our year-long blind whiskey competition to see which one you or Nathan like best. Now, come along the ride for once a month while we uncover new tastes and train their senses to become true connoisseurs. Today is round 4, where they'll choose a winner to move on to the semifinals. If they disagree, generally I'm the decider, but with Nathan MIA, I guess I get to drink the whiskey today. I'm so excited. Now, today, Mike, most of our samples are rye whiskeys. Now, let's be clear. Rye is a whiskey. There's a huge myth out there that rye is not a whiskey, which is also perpetuated by the lyrics in Don McLean's classic song, American Pie. And them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye.
Whiskey and rye.
Now, McLean may have said whiskey and rye for poetic rhyme and lyrical flow. It sounds more folksy and lyrical than just whiskey. So that's what we have. So, Mike, feel free to take a sample throughout the show.
Hey, guys.
Oh.
So I can't talk a whole lot here. I'm working for our secret government.
Okay.
I came in here last night and I realized that I'm the only one here. Everything's been moved out. I'm in a bunker. They gave me the shirt when I came in here, and I'm ready to go. They said, just stay down here until everything is clear above. How's the air above this bunker?
Are you wearing a vault jacket?
Well, this is standard issue here.
Standard issue.
So this is where I'm going to have to become
Fallout jacket.
Well, is that what it is? I don't know. So Mark, I can't taste the whiskey, so you're going to have to taste the whiskey, because they said on my orientation that I had to go through. I learned all about Signal, so I'm up to speed on Signal now. Everything that they taught me, I can't have any alcohol while on the job right now.
Okay, all right. So
I'll cover you on that, Nathan. No problem.
I'm sure Mark has no problem with the whiskey. So.
Okay, great.
All right.
Especially today being rye. I love rye.
Awesome. Okay, well, why don't we do something else and move on to our feature segment?
What did you guys taste all your whiskey yet?
No, we're having a discussion about where it came from, and about your funky vault.
Okay, well, keep on going. Mark, tell us a little bit more about the whiskey.
Well, that's under the Mark Mumbles when we talk about the whiskey itself.
All right.
Yeah, get a clue, dude.
All right. Well, are you guys now ready for our feature segment?
Yeah, I think I said that a few minutes ago.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's get ready for our feature segment. Today, we have an expert joining us. All right. This expert comes to us. Elizabeth is a pioneer in technology space, having startups with Cisco's multi-billion-dollar collaboration and security business. Her expertise lies in building and empowering teams that efficiently navigate internal corporate workings to operate much like a startup and delivering bleeding-edge products and solution. Now, what if you could enhance our online social interactions by migrating to something that feels a lot more human? Wouldn't that be just great? All right. Guess what? Let's get ready to start our next segment.
Welcome to Technology Insider. We get the information directly from the source.
All right, Elizabeth, welcome to our April Fool's event. Hopefully you're enjoying our funny group that we have here today. But welcome. Tell us
Nathan's madcap.
What's that?
Stretch to say
Nathan's madcap.
Hey, I'm in a bunker right now working for the government. I'm the only
a lot of liquor behind you.
You know what? I'm the only employee here right now employed, because all the rest were let go. So you know what?
Are the walls of your bunker soft by any chance?
They are. Why? Is that something to be worried about?
I just wondered, do you have a jacket with long arms?
I do have a jacket with long arms.
All right, that's all I need.
Right. Okay, Elizabeth, welcome to the show. Where are you joining with us from today?
Hello, gentlemen. Thank you for having me. I am joining from the wonderful, sunny Austin, Texas.
All right.
And I'm definitely from this world of innovation and disruption, which is why I was risky enough to join on April Fool's.
There you go. All right. Well, welcome so much to be a part of our show. Now, let's talk a little bit about WebEx, right? So you're working. I was scouring the internet and the dark web, since I'm the only person here for the United States government now working here. And I did find an article that came on up that talked about WebEx and holograms.
I had spent quite a bit of time at Cisco. My focus there was in the collaboration department, looking at innovation, looking at the future of collaboration, what could be disruptive and what could really change the way that we collaborate today. That led to really digging into the world of augmented reality, and ultimately ended up building the WebEx hologram product with a wonderful, very creative team there. And we were kind of like you in a bunker building it for most of the time. It was very much in stealth mode for quite a while. But I can explain what I mean by a holographic system if you'd like.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I'm a big Star Trek, The Next Generation fan, right? So is it like the holodeck room where Picard goes on in there with Riker and they have the crazy stories and everything that you can talk about for a story plot? Or is it something a little less involved than that?
Well, I don't want to get into the Star Trek versus Star Wars whole genre, but I did have a lot of Jedi Council in my original pitch decks for when we wanted to create this. It is along those same lines if you think of a hologram, not fuzzy blue-green, but actual real color. And the thought was, right now, if you're talking to somebody on a video call, you're very aware that they're in their location and you're in your location. There's not a lot of feeling of togetherness because there's a screen in between you, you have equipment and a camera capturing this. It's very obvious that you're separate. The whole story behind WebEx Hologram, what we're trying to create, we were going after a feeling. And it was that feeling of being together in the same space, sharing the same space. So if you think of a holographic collaboration as not getting on a video call in your office and talking to somebody on your screen, but putting on a lightweight headset and then having that person appear in front of you in your physical space.
Okay.
In real color, in full 3D. So close to Star Trek and Star Wars, but trying to get a little bit more lifelike.
What inspired you to actually write this book itself?
It actually came at the end of that project, WebEx Hologram, when handing it off to the business unit to become a full-fledged product. It had been a multi-year journey going from purely the strategy, looking at, what has the potential to disrupt collaboration? Where should we be looking at? Into, well, what could we build? Into building those first prototypes, into getting customer feedback. And it ended up being a multi-year project. So when I finally was able to step back away from that, this started as a postmortem for myself. Really just starting to think, all right, what worked, what didn't? If I were to do something I didn't set out to be an entrepreneur running a startup inside of a big company. If I were to do this again, how would I do things differently? And I just kept writing more and more. My postmortem started getting bigger and bigger, basically, and realizing a lot of these lessons are great for me in my journey going forward, but these would be really useful for somebody else. I didn't have a playbook, so I wrote it to be a playbook for somebody wanting to really implement disruption inside of a large corporation.
All right, so let me ask you that. You didn't have a playbook by default. Was that because your large organization didn't have a playbook by that? Because you guys were kind of cutting edge? Why was there not a playbook? I'm just going to kind of ask in place first off. And with that, I'll preface that I worked at a large company in the Redmond area called Microsoft that I worked with, and they had no playbooks for anything.
I've heard of
them. They had nothing either. So as we were working there in the 90s, I mean, it was just the wild, wild, wild west. And I'm just kind of curious if that was the same thing that you had here, or what was a little bit on how your process was for your playbook to do this product.
Yeah, I find every big company, I'm sure you encountered this at Microsoft and talking to everybody in the tech space, everybody likes to say that they're innovative. Everybody likes to say that they do things in-house and they build things and we've got the most innovative team. But it's kind of like saying every company says we hire the best and brightest. I mean, nobody goes out there and says we hire the bottom of the barrel. So when it comes to actual innovation and are you innovative internally, everybody has a program, but a lot of times those programs don't actually lead to something. A lot of times they're siloed, they're separate. It's innovation theater is kind of the joke. With my effort, I was inside of the engineering organization, and this started as looking from that perspective, from inside out, of what could we do here? What has the risk of really exposing us, not next year, not a few quarters from now, but 10 years from now, are we going to be relevant? So it started from there, and nobody had really built anything internally from the ground up from that concept. Usually it was acquiring some IP or building something tangentially different to what we're currently doing. So it's smaller innovations, or you buy a company. I'm like, we want innovation. Let's go buy this company that's doing this. So that was new for us at the time, to do something entirely from the ground up. And it started in just small steps. And I didn't start out day one being like, hey, I'm going to build a company inside of a company. It started out with, hey, let's look at this area. What could we do here?
So let's talk about your book. Now, is it a simple read? Because, so Mr. Gourdet here on the show, he's written a book, and he can handle large phonetic words and big language dictionary itself.
Except for one that was on my script that I couldn't read.
Okay, but for me, I need a little bit more of a simpler read. So I need something that I can understand and pick up and go. Tell us a little bit about, is it a simple read? Is it difficult? What are some of the key points? And ideally in your book, Cake on Tuesday, what are you trying to get across to the readers?
Sure. The subtitle of it is Cake on Tuesday, 25 Lessons to Unlock Corporate Innovation. And it's focused on these 25 lessons broken into 5 chunks throughout the book. Very simple read. My goal when writing it was something that somebody could pick up on a flight in New York and be done by the time they land in San Francisco, because we're all busy. So I was trying to think, how do I distill the project I was working on was about 8 years. How do I distill 8 years of learning into something that somebody could read on a coast to coast flight and make it really, really simple?
Perfect. All right. Now, where can we find your book? I mean, if I need to find, I'm sure you can find it at the largest bookstore on the internet, but I don't, which doesn't even sell books anymore. It sells everything else, and they have
what
now
about?
Amazon. They have
my primary library.
Oh, is that your primary library?
Yeah.
Every 2 months they just had a special Prime Day just last week again. So, tell us, where can we find your book? Is it available in soft copy, hard copy? Elizabeth, where can we go out and find this?
It's available in all the versions. There's hard copy, paperback, ebook, and there's a wonderful voice talent that did the audio as well. So you can get it on Google Play or Audible. You can also get it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, Walmart. Pretty much any place you can get a book.
All right.
Hey, Nathan.
Yeah, what's that?
I had a question for Elizabeth.
Sure, go right ahead.
So for a lot of our listeners out there that are intrigued, what would be your top couple of takeaways from the book that they would get by reading the book?
Sure. I did really break it down into the journey of going through WebEx Hologram. And in my 5 sections, I realized in hindsight, looking back at it, I was really biased towards the start. Because anytime you're doing something new, different, innovative, the first 3 sections are largely about different parts of starting. So going from nothing to concept, getting that concept into motion. How do you add oil and reduce friction to get that moving forward? How do you sell it? Well, the first 3 sections are all about that. And then, because I think that's the hardest thing for everybody, quite frankly. And then my 4th section is largely about, once you've got rolling, it's titled Leading Through the Barren Middle. So it's that when everybody hits the slog in the middle, when it going gets rough, when you're just, okay, this isn't how I expected it to be. It's not so exciting now. How do you get through that? And it's focused more on my leadership journey. So how as a leader do you help your team get through that? And the last section is Insights from the Rearview Mirror, which really taps into those lessons that you don't always get when you're in them, but you see them on the other side.
All right, perfect. All right, Elizabeth, now where can people get in touch with you outside of our show, right? So we love to let people connect. We will, of course, be tagging you on LinkedIn, so where everybody listens to our show. But where else can they reach out to you if they wanted to maybe have you come in and talk about your book, or maybe come and keynote speak? How would somebody reach out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on my website, which is elizabethbieniek.com. And that's how you can reach about speaking engagements and workshops. I also post a lot on LinkedIn under my name, Elizabeth Bieniek. Largely on LinkedIn, I talk a lot about AI, I talk a lot about tech. And then I also have a presence on Instagram at Cake on Tuesday, which is more about the book itself and leadership.
All right. Elizabeth, we want to thank you so much for being a part of our April Fool's show. It's a little bit different than what we normally have, so we are all changing positions and having a great time as we do so. You guys, anything else you'd like to ask Elizabeth?
I'm
Mark?
curious about the title. Why Cake on Tuesday? Why cake not every day? Where did that come from?
Mark, we all know about your cake fetish.
All right.
I do.
Okay, here we go. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Where'd you come up with it? There you go. What did Mark say?
Cake on Tuesday. I have to give credit to my operations manager, who was my right hand. She was my right hand for over a decade, even before this project. It was during that leading through the barren middle, that rough part of the project. We were past that exciting beginning. We weren't to our final conclusion. We were just some of the phases in the middle. And we're talking about, how do we motivate the team? How do we get them excited about something? We don't have a huge milestone to rally around. And she had the idea of creating the Wheel of Fortune style Wheel of Winning, just putting everybody's name on it. Mm-hmm. And at our staff meetings, we'd spin it. Our staff meetings were on Tuesday. If it landed on your name, we would send you a cake. we're a global team, so we had people spread all around the world, and a cake would show up at your door later that week. It was a way to just have
Mark's
some
all
fun,
excited
have
about
some
that. He's like,
celebration.
hey, I got to do that right now. There you go.
Where's your operations manager working now, and does she have openings?
Wow.
She's actually looking for some things right now, so talk to me after.
Wow.
She's
Well, she can come work for the government because it's just myself right here now. There's nobody
there's
else
nobody
working here
I
for the
think
government
I
on
think
IT
we can
security.
put that. Yeah, I think we can put that one to bed there, Cake Boy.
Okay. All right. Well, Elizabeth, from all of us here at Tech Time Radio, we really appreciate you joining the show.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Now that Elizabeth's done with Cake on Tuesday, nothing's better than our Mike's mesmerizing moment. Welcome to Mike's mesmerizing moment. What does Mike have to say today? All right, Mike. I'm going to be coming to you from the bunker here.
Yeah, okay. Whatever, dude.
Oh no, there's a siren that's going on in the background there. I gotta be careful. Okay, here's what we got. All right, Bill Gates said this last week, AI can replace teachers and doctors in the coming years. Is this something you would like to see? Did you read the quote that he did out there? So
I didn't.
He did a big interview.
this.
He did a big interview. Bill Gates said that, you know what, AI is going to help replace teachers and doctors because you're not going to have a doctor anymore. Now, after he said that, I went on out and I did some Grok searches and some OpenAI searches, and I found out that I get the same information from my AI assistant as I get from WebMD. Everything that is out there, you're going to die of. So I just started putting, I have this issue. It looks like you should go see a doctor. You're going to die. But I guess he thinks it's going to change. Tell us, what do you think about this idea?
I have been predicting this, but if we want to think of it as a good thing, absolutely not.
Okay.
Because AI cannot replace certain aspects of the human element, and it never will. And one of those is the physical interaction. Hey, if you have an AI teacher, that's great. But what are you going to do with students that don't really care? The fact of the matter is that, do I think it's going to happen? Yeah, I think we're going to do this whole song and dance about, AI is going to replace every job. We're already seeing it happen. AI devalues the human experience. AI devalues the human being in general. And we're going to turn into all those guys on the ship in WALL-E. We're going to be fat and floating around and not see anything outside of our screen. So,
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not real happy about that question. Thanks.
Well, I was kind of surprised to see Bill just going out there and put it out there too. But
my question, I guess, would be: is Bill happy about this, or is he just saying this is probably what's going to happen?
I was kind of saying that he predicted this. It was kind of in a pro-positive way. What he was saying is that, you know what, you're not going to need to have a teacher or a doctor because you're going to be able to have all that information. And you, as an individual yourself, can go on out and be able to find that information.
So once again, this goes back to earlier conversations.
But doctors are practicing medicine, right? So there are doctors that stretch the limits, and sometimes they're not always right. So
there's mistakes.
As a tool.
There's mistakes that we make as human beings, but an AI can't replace the human being.
Okay.
It can collate knowledge that human being may need, like the teacher scenario, like the interesting medical technique that saved that guy that we talked about earlier. It can collate information and give it to a human, but a human has to be able to dispense the thing. Well, until Elon gets all of his robots out there and it takes over and, whatever.
Yeah, but Mike, I think to prove your point, teachers is a good example of this. We all have that special teacher that really changed our life. That won't happen with AI. Number two, you saw during COVID, remote learning. So it's still live teachers, but remote learning and the detriment that brought to the kids at remote learning. Now take away the human element of that and put that by a machine, you're going to have even more detriment.
All right. Okay, Mike, thanks for that mesmerizing moment. Up next, we have This Week in Technology. So now would be a great time, and I wish I could be enjoying a little whiskey on the side as we're going to be doing so during the break. You're listening to Tech Time Radio with Nathan Mumm. See you guys in a few minutes.
Hello, my name is Arthur, and my life's work is connecting people with coffee. Story Coffee is a small batch specialty coffee company that uses technology to connect people to each product resource, which allows farmers to unlock their economic freedom. Try our medium roast founder series coffee, which is an exotic bourbon variety that is smooth, fresh, and elegant at storycoffee.com. That's STORI coffee.com. Today you can get your first bag free when you subscribe at storycoffee.com with code TechTime. That's STORI coffee.com.
The segment we've been waiting all week for. Mark's Whiskey Mumble.
Yay! Well, today is April 1st. What are we celebrating today?
I don't think it matters.
Well, no, it's April Fool's Day, of
Well,
course.
it is, but that's not what I'm celebrating.
Oh, what are you celebrating?
I am celebrating National 1 Cent Day.
Oh,
Okay, how is that not an April Fool's joke?
It's not.
okay.
Now, those who forget history are doomed to failure. And keeping this in mind, we celebrate National 1 Cent Day. We honor a major point in the establishment of the American currency, even though it's been discontinued now. The story behind begins with Benjamin Franklin, who designed it, all the way to Abraham Lincoln, who is on it now. At one point, the coin used to be called the flowing hair dollar because of the image of the Statue of Liberty on it.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, another history lesson we should keep in mind. In the late 1700s, George Washington was one of the largest producers of rye whiskey at his Mount Vernon distillery.
Yeah, he would have to be. Father of the American country, Yeah, I'm probably pretty sure he was needing some help there.
So, like I said, we have a lot of ryes here. So, do you want me to tell you what's in each glass or just tell you what the 4 whiskeys are and you guess? You get to choose.
Well, you can, whatever. This is
All
your
right.
Mumble.
Well, right now, Mike's has the shot glass, and that's kind of his leading one. So
That shot glass is my worst. Here in the bunker,
that
I'm
makes
not
sense.
drinking.
Yeah.
Although I just heard Elon Musk is now going to let me go. I got a notice that just came through here, so I'm going to be let
Did
go
you get
here.
a pink slip.
Well, he says he's going to come in and personally meet me, so I'm excited about that. So
all right,
maybe
let's
we're
get
gonna
back to the whiskey
Okay.
here.
Yeah, let's get off
Bacta
that.
1928 rye whiskey. Now, this distillation is from France. It's a Finnish rye whiskey, so it's 100 proof, and basically it's 60% rye, 30% XO Calvados, and 10% blend of Armagnac. And the Armagnacs are 5 different distillations going all the way back to 1928.
Nice.
That's a very complex one. In the jam glass, that's the little jar jam glass. That is New York Distilling Jaywalk Rye. So that's from New York. It's a straight rye whiskey, 68 years old, 92 proof. It's 75% New York rye, 13% corn, 12 malted barley.
You know what? There's aliens that live in New York. I just came across my desk right here.
Oh, okay.
Military breaking news.
All right.
In the Glen glass in front of you is American Metal Whiskey.
Oh.
Distilled in Tennessee. It's a straight Tennessee whiskey, 4 to 5 years, 90 proof, 80% corn, 10 malted barley, 10% rye. And then in the water glass that I think Nathan is slightly liking.
I think Nathan might. Nathan, put your jacket on.
I go. Whoa. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's the one I like.
Yep, that's Stork House Rye Whiskey. That is distilled in Germany. It's a straight rye whiskey, 4 to 5 years, 90 proof, 100% German rye.
Oh.
I don't care.
Where
did that come from?
What the heck, Mike? Well, I kind of like that one, to be honest.
All of these are pretty good.
They're all
actually.
pretty good.
I'm having trouble. having trouble deciding which one I like.
This is my number
best.
one.
So you still got a little bit more time to come up. Otherwise, I'm going to have to taste them and figure out which one's the best.
I think that's the best.
Well,
All right.
Yeah, you just slammed it. So
That was really good. I tasted all of them, and that was the only one that I could really slam. All right. Well, do you have anything else to tell us, Mark?
No, that is it for now, Nathan.
Okay.
Back to the bunker.
yeah, happy coin day, buddy.
Back to your silly...
A penny. Just think of a
silliness.
whole penny. Now, if you collect 50 pennies, do you know how much you have?
50
2
pennies.
quarters.
You have 2 quarters. That's right.
Oh, it's a good thing you can do math. That's very helpful in your
What do you?
vault.
I really couldn't do math, but Mark helped me. Okay, here we go. I'm reading across the line right now. United States governments are secrets posted on WhatsApp. So you can just go up to WhatsApp right now. I guess somebody leaked something. They were trying to send something out, and oops, it got leaked out. All right, well, whiskey and technology, a great pairing. Just like Star Trek episodes and the red shirt ensign that dies in the first act of all of the original series.
About time we got that one in here.
There we go. So, I'm watching some Star Trek redos right now, and so I'm going back and watching. And
You
let me
mean
just tell you.
reruns?
Well, I call them redos because they've been re-edited. The episode now is in the HD, and it's got everything else in it. So it's not really a rerun anymore. They all of a sudden, the Star Trek Enterprise ship now looks like it's like 5 years old from technology. And I mean, it's just like all souped up with lights and everything. They used to have models. Okay, continuing on. All right, let's prepare for our technology fail of the week, presented by Elite Executive Services technology experts to help you out of a technology
We are
fail.
out of time. Congratulations. You're a failure.
Oh. I failed, did I?
Yes.
Did I?
Yes.
Did I?
Yes.
All right.
So can I guess what it is?
What are you going to be talking about?
I'm pretty sure.
I think it's it's from TechTime Radio's April Fool joke.
It is. That's
extended
right.
Too long.
That's right. All right. So technology failure comes to us from the White House. As many secrets have been shared on public social media platforms. There goes something right now on Facebook. Wow, I can't believe that's even true. Okay, we're going to talk about a social media platform called Signal. What is Signal? It's an app that is used by United States officials to share attack plans with media and anybody else because clearly our people did not know how to use a basic app service. Now, this app is used for direct messages and group chats, as well as phone calls and video calls. Just think of all the private information that is stored on these servers. Now, it is nice to know that this is a nonprofit, so at least hopefully it's not going into the wrong hands. But let's talk a little bit about this cool new app. We've talked about it. Actually, we talked about it in year one of TechTime Radio on our show about Signal. And I've actually
been that
used
long
it.
ago?
It has been that long ago. It goes back to our first season of episodes. We're in season 7 now, so it goes back to our first deal when we were in our Studio 44. All right, now, Signal uses end-to-end encryption for its messaging and calling service to prevent any third parties from viewing conversations, content, or listening in on calls. In other words, messages and calls sent to Signal are scrambled, and only the sender and recipient of each end will have the key to decipher them. Signal's encryption protocol is open source, meaning that it's freely available for anyone to interact with or modify. That means the encryption protocol is used by other popular chat forms, including Meta's WhatsApp platform. Now, Signal has features that are found in other messaging apps, but it also has the ability to host up to 1,000 people on a message at a time. So if you have 1,000 friends, so you can put the whole...
So you can add a lot of journalists in there.
You can put a lot of journalists in there. Yeah. You can add them all to your list. You can have up to 1,000 people that you send to. And what's really interesting about this is that you can actually set on the settings to have your message automatically disappear after a certain amount of time. And I don't want to say that's illegal to do with the United States government information that you're always supposed to keep, but if you'd be using that and it was configured to have this option enabled and the information deleted, I guess you would just say, well, you know what, I didn't realize that was the settings for the app. Now, government officials have used Signal for organization correspondence, such as scheduling sensitive meetings, but in the Biden administration, people who had permission to download it on the White House issued phones were instructed to use the app sparingly. According to a former national security official who served in the administration, the official was requested for anonymity to speak on these methods, probably because just like me, he's hiding in a bunker. Said Signal's most common use is to notify someone back in the Biden administration that they should then check for classified message sent through other means, including our nation's secured email system. Probably the idea of having an alert that says, hey, you have a secured email, go check it out, would probably be a perfect way to use this application. I don't think you should be using it to send information back and forth that are really sensitive because guess what? It is not controlled by our nation's government. It is a nonprofit open source code that's available. Now, who's behind Signal? The app originally dated back more than a decade when it was set up by an entrepreneur who goes by the name of Moxie Marlin Spike.
Yeah, that sounds like a real name.
No. So the person that even created this doesn't even want to know who their real name is. Who was briefly head of product security at Twitter after he sold his mobile security startup for the social media company. Marlin Spike merged two existing open source apps, the Red Phone encrypted voice calling app and the Text Secure encrypted texting program to create Signal. Now, according to John Ratcliffe, as of 2025, Signal is installed by default on the devices of most CIA employees, and its usage is covered by standard onboard training, the same training that I had late last night. So here we go. My phone right here is secure with Signal now, so that's the only way I can communicate with anybody outside of my bunker.
Oh, that's great, because I don't have Signal on my phone, so that's perfect.
We can't talk anymore.
That's right.
This is what a good day.
All right, so we're going to head out to our last commercial break. When we return, we have our Nathan Nugget and, of course, our pick of the day. So sit back, raise a glass. You're listening to Tech Time Radio with Nathan Mumm.
How to See a Man About a Dog. It combines darkly comic short stories, powerful poems, and pulp fiction prose to create a heartbreaking and hilarious journey readers will not soon forget. Read How to See a Man About a Dog, collected writings, for free with Kindle Unlimited. Ebook available on Kindle, print copies available on Amazon The Bookpository, and more.
This is your Nugget of the Week.
All right, our Nugget of the Week. You know what? Who needs a smartphone when you can have smart nails? The NFC manicure is the latest trend to bring manicuring to the tech world. NFC stands for Near Field Communication. It's an ultra tiny tech chip that. I'm getting a little drunk in this bunker here. Don't be. What are you doing? So don't be messing with me. I hit this big red button right here.
What are you even talking about?
Okay, so here we go. NFE stands for Near Field Communication. The NFC manicures are the latest in the nail trending deal. So you can actually get an NFC chip when you go into your nail salon, which I know you do, Mr. Gourdet, all the time. But you can actually get it so that it can open up and have it be used as an NFC chip.
I need to go get a manicure so I can have this attached to my nail.
That's exactly correct. Well, they're paper thin, they're weightless and painless. The chip allows you to act as similar QR codes. There are two types of this NFC nail chip. One is a microchip that you can encrypt with data, a website, or a Spotify song. The second type is a blinking light that starts shining whenever your phone is unlocked. Just think of this. I could have my phone on the table, you go and unlock it, and all of a sudden my nails light up and say, boo-doo-doo-doo-doo, just kind of like all the sirens that are going on here in the bunker.
What happens if I break my nail?
Elon, please, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. What was that? Sorry? What was that?
What happens when I break? I think you might have had too much liquid refreshment there.
Maybe I have.
What happens when I break my nail?
Well, if you
does
break
all that stuff go away?
Well,
am I able to access my bank accounts now? What's my deal?
Well, guess
here?
what? It's really nice is that these are normally portable and movable. So even if you chip a nail, you'll be able to take this NFC and put it on your next nail when you go on in for your manicure the next time. Now the chips are getting even smaller. They're going to be more and more. It looks like this is going to be the new trend for nails, especially for putting on a special light show.
I have. Well,
do you like this new craze?
I have a technical word for it.
What's that?
It's stupid.
It's stupid.
It's stupid.
Oh, come on! Your next girlfriend's gonna be all lit up with NFC nails, and she's gonna be all.
Yeah, no. If I had a date that came in and be like, "Oh, look at my beautiful nails," not only are they beautifully functionally, but they can open my phone and light up. I'm like, no, I don't need a Disney.
You don't need that?
No, I don't need a Disney light show to go with my day. But like, well,
you know what? Let's move on to our whiskey tasting.
And now our pick of the day for our whiskey tastings. Let's see what bubbles to the top.
All right, what do we have?
All right, so in the shot glass, you have the Bacta 1928 rye whiskey, $67. In the jam jar, you have New York Distilling Jaywalk Rye, $45. In the Glen American Metal Whiskey, $45. And in the water glass Stork House Rye Whiskey, $65.
Well, I'm a little bothered by this, Mark, because I seem to be enjoying rye a lot more than I used to.
So which one's your choice, Mike?
I'm going to stick with the Bacta 1928.
All right,
that seems
and Nathan?
to be the most...
This is my
the Stork House Rye Whiskey.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so I have to decide. Well, actually, the best one is neither one that you guys chose. Is the one in the jam jar, the Jaywalk Rye. But between the two you chose,
how is that not? How is us not to be the best? Who decided
the whiskey connoisseur? Now, the one that's going to move on has to be one that you guys chose. So the one that moves on is the Bacta 1928 Rye Whiskey. That was my number 2 choice. My number 3, not far behind, was Stork House Rye Whiskey, which was Nathan's. And the one that was just not drinkable, in my estimation, is the American Metal Whiskey, which is...
interestingly enough, my tastes are more aligned with his taste than yours.
Your choices were pretty close. So I like the Jaywalk Rye, just the one from New York, the best. Your two were both very good, very close. But, Mike, I felt the Bacta Rye with the Calvados and the Armagnac in there elevated a little bit.
It was the most consistent for me.
All right. Well, guys,
Delicious.
we're just about out of time. Welcome to our April Fool's event. Did you guys enjoy this?
No.
That was so fun. It was fun. It was fun. All right, we want to
It was fun for us. I'm curious how the listeners will
We'll see how
react.
listeners love this crazy stuff. So I'm coming to you from a bunker.
No, Nathan loves this crazy stuff.
I'm coming to you from a bunker.
Nathan lives in his own little Star Trek world.
That's
I'm
now.
sorry.
It's a
Star
Fallout
Trek world.
Star Trek world. That's
It
right.
needs to be a Star Trek world.
Not a trek. All right, that's the proper way to say it. So we have spent time to purposely program to say Star Trek.
Star Trek, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what, guys? We're about out of time. We want to thank our listeners for joining the program. Listeners, we want to hear from you. Visit us at techtimeradio.com. Click on Be a Caller and ask a question on our technology talkback recording system. You can always stay connected by signing up on our website and staying up to date on technology. We did move our website to a new site. Bye-bye, HostGator. Bye-bye, InMotion, or Hello InMotion. So there we go. You know what? From all of us here at Tech Time Radio, remember, the science of tomorrow starts with the technology of today. We'll see you back next week with our normal programming schedule.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on Tech Time Radio. We hope that you had a chance to have that moment today in technology. The fun doesn't stop there. We recommend that you go to techtimeradio.com and join our fan list for the most important aspect of staying connected and winning some really great monthly prizes. We also have a few other ways to stay connected, including subscribing to our podcast on any podcast service, from Apple to Google and everything in between. We're also on YouTube, so check us out on youtube.com/techtimeradio, all one word. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did making it for you. From all of us at Tech Time Radio, remember, Mumm's the word. Have a safe and fantastic week.